and in one another, one another. Their worlds lie within each one of us. I mean, any one of you and myself, I think, I mean, especially on my new channel, if you were, if you were stuck on an island, right? If I was stuck on an island and no interaction, or not even that, but just because we are on islands in a way, in our own little islands, but a like-minded person, right, individual soul, whatever, spend some time with you in that, looks you in the eyes, recognizes you, you're able to talk to one another, you're able to share, you're able to heal, you're able to dance, you're able to make love, I mean, whatever it is, and just celebrate just the connectedness and the opportunity in that, right? And the harmony in that. I mean, just one person where you can have, just a meeting for an hour and it can change your life. Conscious individuals coming together can change each other's lives. There's no question about it. It reminds me of the saying from on the movie Troy, where Achilles, Achilles is a warlord, or not a warlord, but he's a warrior, and he's killed so many people. He's taken so many men off to die, off to war, whatever it is. He's really he's and so and then he falls in love with a woman from another part of, I don't know, from the enemy side or whatever you want to call it, and he says she gave me a moment of peace in a lifetime of war. And that's how powerful I'm saying we can be to one another. That's how transcendental. That's how we can take each other out of this narrative, out of the sterile existence that we live in. Okay, and we can remind each other and calm each other down and love each other and get lost in each other completely, like you're just born again all the time in each other's company, in conscious company, because I think that we are divine, right? And just as much as if we're in the presence of the divine, how we would feel, right? And so the divinity that lies within each one of us, we bring that into relationship with one another, right? Into being, into whatever, just into space, into company with one another. And it's fireworks, man. It's just really amazing. And so what's my point? Is that, like, I was thinking that a lot of the healing that can't take place, a lot of the difficulties and the challenges, I mean, more than what we weigh on our shoulders, like, this, I don't know, that, look, we got to, the reason why we are how we are is because we're doing the healing separate from one another, because we've had, I mean, that's how we separated from the source, if you want to call it, for this time being. And that's the reason I feel that it is the situation, is the way that it is now. Like, there might be small pockets of us, around the world or whatever, but there's no community in that sense, and it's supposed to be that way, right? It's supposed to be that way. So on your own, right, you don't have that sort of, for some of us do, but not primarily, you don't, right? I'm saying have that support of somebody who's, on the same wavelength or soulful level, the same, your spiritual buddy, if you want to call it, or something like that. You don't have that, really. And so you're having to do it on your own. And that's what's so brutal about this. I mean, we can do it through the internet, obviously, and whatever it is, and we see each other from time to time, but, and you might have one or two people in your life, but again, like, it's not majority, and maybe, you connect with them, but you perhaps connect with somebody online more so, and you would, like, geez, I wish if I could have a dinner, or whatever it is, the top 5 people that you've met through the internet, who I'm sure I can think of people, it's probably majority of you listening to, I'm saying most of you would be the ones listening to here, that I would love around, to have around a dinner table. I mean, can you imagine? We would just forget the world. We'll talk about the world. But we'd just get lost, and we'd speak for hours, and we'd smoke, and we would drink, and we would, I'm saying the herb, and we would toast our glasses. Would celebrate what the existence of one another. Would celebrate this whole journey of life, whatever it is, and feel refreshed and feel strengthened by it. And so what I'm saying is that a lot of the difficulty is that is one of the things is to be able to try and find, again, like I've said this before, to find the magic on your own, right? I'm saying to find those little moments of catch your breath, right? You see all this crap. I mean, I'm getting these spam messages coming through and whatever it is. You got to find it on your own. I mean, you walk on this journey on your own and find those golden nuggets, of meaning, of, again, remembrance that this is a journey, right? This is a mystery. This is a fraction of the bigger picture and of this experience, right? And we're so much bigger than the things that also happen to us. This is what I heard this the other day from a TV series. So much bigger than the things that happen to us. Okay? And we're so much more than we can ever imagine. And the problem is when we lose touch with that, right? Then we fall in line with the narrative. Again, I've spoken about this in the last recording. There's much I want to touch on, right, about this, and because I think it's really important now that we find those moments of transcendental moments, right, and so on and so forth. And a lot of, I think, the transcendental moments is also sometimes just cleansing, detoxing, purging, purifying the body, fasting, meditations. I'm a big fan of coffee enemas, right? I've spoken about them before, and some people think it's so fringe or whatever it is, but coffee enema is basically you take organic coffee and about 500 mils, half a liter, don't know what that is in other metric terms, whatever it is, and you put it up the colon basically, and you sit with it for 15 minutes inside, and it does its work, and then you get on the loo and you flush it out. And I'm telling you, I just feel the flash of energy, the flash of darker, heavy energy just being dumped, right? Same with ayahuasca. You purge, right? You're purging the energy, right? You're not purging because of something that's made you sick, in a sense, like I'm saying it's a food poisoning or something like that. No, it's energetic. I mean, when I took ayahuasca, right, and I could see the visuals, things went into color. It was very far out, very hard to explain, but it was color. So when the shaman was singing, I saw like sort of waves of purplish blue neons and deep reds, and just like they were dancing, the colors was just, I don't know how to explain it, like mist almost. And when vomit felt like, spiders and frogs' legs and just detritus, and just really rotten eggs, whatever it might be, just, and it's not a big vomit really, it's just purging. And afterwards you just feel so good about it. Or, you go to the toilet for a number 2, and you sit, and I didn't go for number 2s, but I know of people, they're like, I don't understand it, I just crapped so much. And I'm sorry, whatever, but it's a dumping. So we've got to find our ways to dump the energy, because we're like sponges and we're walking through these environments, right? And we're absorbing, we don't even realize it, right? And we're barely with our feet on the ground. I'm saying grounded with our feet on the ground. So we absorb him all the time. I mean, that helps to ground the feet, the earth, it's magnetism. It has a magnet in a way that just sort of deionizes or something. I don't know what it does. I don't even know what I'm talking about, but I really feel it. It's intuitive. You just feel these things, right? You just feel these things. And so you got to find how you're dumping, right? By fasting, by meditating, I don't know. You got to find what works in your way. Psychedelics, Mary Jane, maybe you eating brownies, maybe it's more when you eat them and it's in the evening, but it's a shedding, and we need to be doing this often, right? Absolutely often, right? That because again, just as much as we shower in the evening or we bath or whatever it is, or every second day for some of us or whatever it is, so too the spiritual energies need to be cleansed. And this is what ceremonies used to be about, right? And whatever it was, the village would come around you and they would just chant and chant and chant, and that vibrations, it would wash off a lot of the darker, negative, heavier energies off you, okay? And so that's what I think it's a part of. I mean, there's just so much, but again, what I'm trying to say is, in a way, is that what is the world's depression and what is our own depression? What is the world's sorrows and unhealthiness, and what is our own unhealthiness. Because what I'm saying is that when if we were in an environment that was living in the country type of lifestyle, or how you know what I'm saying, like no high-rise buildings, everything natural, organic foods, children are playing, you're learning about the whatever, just magic and the plant life and just nature and the connection with nature, whatever it is, and the elderly are looked after and respected, and there's the shamans, and you know what I'm saying, and it's just, but who would you be in that? Would you not just be distracted from your own unfinished work, unfinished business? You see what I'm saying? Like, would you not just be just so distracted by all of the joys and the blissfulness of it, because it's been so the opposite. We've had so much of the opposite that you would actually just ignore a lot of the unfinished work that you need to be doing, that I need to be doing, right? Because until we've got that, until the work is finished, I believe that's when we will have that unity, we will have that community, we will have that, our beloveds, right, with us, and whatever it is, and the children will be safe, right? The elderly will be respected. I'm just giving examples. Nature will be looked after, right? The future will be looked after, or something or other. Deep meaning. You'd wake up in the morning, on an organic diet, whatever it is, a healthy diet, unprocessed diet, whatever it is, from a night before of chanting around the fire, musical instruments, you just name it, whatever it is, that will be so, but I don't know. There always has to be healing, and perhaps there will be healing as well. And I'm saying it sounds so idealistic, and I think we will get there one day. I don't know if this lifetime, in this time era, whatever it might be, I do think it does exist. I do think it's almost where we come from, in a way, so to speak, right? I don't know. I also think when we pass on from this life, that perhaps potentially what we do is become the angels, and because of our experience on this planet Earth, right? When we pass on and we've qualified or matriculated out of this realm, okay? What's the word? Is it qualified? There's when you finish university, even school, what's it called? Oh, but you know what I mean. And here we call it matriculated. Graduated, when you've graduated to the next dimension, in a way, that and you completed your journey, you don't need to come back necessarily, right? Then you become the guiding angel, you look and and you're involved, and I feel that we're definitely not alone in that way. We're definitely not alone. And it's so convincing that we are alone. That's what's so amazing about it, is that spirit is not obvious. Spirit, the magic is not obvious. And this is why I'm saying we have to try and find the spirit and the obvious and the magic in our own lives, right? We have to find the love, the beauty, and the meaning, and the transcendental in our own lives. That's so important. Otherwise, we lose touch with who we are, with the spirit, with the divinity, and we become like, the freak show that's going on outside. The absolute extremeness of negative duality, if you want to call it, the one extreme of duality, not balanced at all. And so that's it. But what I'm saying is that we need to understand that I can be a lot happier, right, or more fulfilled than I allow myself to be. A lot of my depression is really the world's depression. A lot of my stresses is the world's stresses, right? A lot of the upset emotions are the world's. You've got to make a distinction between yourself and your environment and whatever it is. Do you know what I mean? Like, and because, again, to use the imagination and sit in the most perfect environment that you can ever imagine, right? Again, in that harmonious, holistic environment with the tribe, okay? In the Garden of Eden, imagine yourself there, right? But then also reflect and say, well, what would be missing about you? What would the work is, because at the same time, how would you feel then? You feel great, but in yourself. And what I'm saying is that when you look now and you say, well, this is all that's wrong with the world and everything else, and you realize it's the world, right? It's away from you, and it's not you, so to speak. There's a distinction. It's hard to explain this in a way, but there's a distinction between yourself and everything else that's going on. And so, well, I am depressed because um, it's depressing being in this world, right? But I'm not depressed because I'm disconnected from myself. You understand? Like, I feel unhealthy because of the world I'm living in is unhealthy, but internally I don't feel unhealthy. Does that make sense? I'm not sure if that makes sense. But there needs to be a distinction, right, between your inner landscape, your inner universe, and the world out there, right? If that makes sense. I don't know if that makes sense at all. And we are engaged, be in the world, but not of the world. We are engaged and we are triggered by everything in our lives. There's no question about it, right? But we just realize that we're so much bigger than we're part of something so much bigger than it. If we knew how timeless the soul was or the spirit was, if we had any idea, right, we wouldn't take this shit so seriously in a way that goes on, I'd like to think. And we'd feel more braver in ourselves. We'd feel more the ability to be more outspoken, more unapologetic for like being sensitive or, overly emotional or opinionated or conspiratorial or fringe or different or individual or something like that, or melancholy and at certain times or whatever it is, or dramatic or something. We wouldn't feel that like so much out of place. We'd own more of our own uniqueness in being. We'd have more confidence, right? And we realize that we have so much backing, we have so much love, and we have so much support, right? That our side is always winning, right? There's always support in that. There's always support, and it's hard to believe that. But, that's what we've got to get more in touch with, I would say, more so often, and we've got to practice that, the bigger picture, folks, the adventure that we are on, the journey that we are on, right, cannot be forgotten about. And, we might die tomorrow, you might die in a week from now, you might die in the next dimension if we ever evolve it or something like that, who knows? But regardless of what it is, it's the journey that we are on, and for what it's worth, and it's all calculated. It's all calculated, and I'm going to leave something that I saw from a quote that I heard the other day about how this world keeps in balance and how your own particular life adds to the balance of the whole bigger picture of the energies of life, of the duality of life. So we don't realize that, but we're part of something that's pretty darn big, pretty darn unique, and pretty darn special. And especially to have your knowing about you, your wits about you, your consciousness, your heart in the right place, right? In the time, in at the end of the world, how unique that is. Again, we've got to put into time perspective and see we live in a very unique time, right? We live in a very biblical time. We have people that are playing God, right? More so than ever on a biblical level. Bigger, almost it's just as big as Noah's flood. Something that's affected and flooded the world worldwide by one or two so-called individuals, Mr. Gates and Mr. Fauci. I'm just saying these are the representatives. But these magicians, these two guys on their own, right, have, and the CDC, whatever it is, but I'm saying the main spokesman, these people, they and those are the type of gods. And so science has become a god. Religions are out in a big way. They've kept everybody out of the ashrams, the temples, the synagogues, the churches, right, whatever it is, and focused them on the men in the white coats and whatever it is. Anyway, that's something else. But that's where most of the world is. And we're not part of that narrative. We're not part of this freak show, circus show. And we've got to be purging all of that stuff that does affect us daily, and builds up on us, and how it's affected us from from our upbringing and things like that. We've got to be purifying here. We've got to be really, really cleaning out all the time, right? Getting into resonance, getting into alignment, getting in touch more so with spirit and living, more so in the awe and wonder, right? And the confusion and the overwhelmment, the anxiety, the despair, the ups and the downs, the marvelous, the magnificent, the tragic, and to live in part of all of that, and the deep, rich experience that it's all about, right? And not forget that this is all a passing phase. This is all transient. All of it is just so transient. It's frightening and exhilarating at the same time. All right, folks. Thanks for taking the time. We'll chat soon. Take care.